Did you know that child identity is formed at home? It is. The home is the most powerful place for forming the identity of the child. I'm Nicholeen Peck. I teach parenting, good communication all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about the child identity. Now, child identity isn't only formed in the home, but it is first formed in the home, or not, and the home is the best place to form the identity of a child. If parents understand that they get the opportunity to form the identity of the child first, then the child fares better in their overall optimism, sense of purpose, and happiness in life. In this video, we're going to be talking about identity, roles in the family, and how those relate to forming the identity of the child. The world is fascinated with the concept of identity. Have you noticed? It's so funny because it's like, for years and years, we're talking hundreds, maybe even thousands of years, nobody thought of saying, "Who are you?" Really? I mean, except for maybe in a spiritual sense, people would say, "Who are you?" Well, I'm a child of God. And by the way, I'm very happy my parents taught me that when I was a child. But it wasn't like, what's your identity in all of these other things, right? We didn't compartmentalize people. In fact, what we did, instead of stereotype and compartmentalize people, is we just said, how can we learn to love and accept everyone? But now people are so obsessed with the concept of identity as if it's some new, super enlightened topic, that now it's getting infused into everything. And as it is happening, we are actually finding parents stepping back from helping a child establish identity, which is very dangerous. And that means they are allowing someone else to form the identity of the child. The parent has a role to form the identity of their child, or to help the child form their identity. If they don't do it, then they basically are leaving a blank slate, a door wide open for someone else to script on the heart and mind of the child about who the child thinks they even are. Parents have a sacred post. It's a sacred duty given by God when that child arrives in their home to help the child learn first and foremost who they are and who the other people around them are too, so that they can succeed and have purpose and optimal happiness and feeling of contentment and belonging in life. If you don't know who you are, you also don't know who you belong to. And a feeling of belonging is key for happiness. So understanding who you are is probably the most important lesson that a person ever learns, because it is the one foundational piece that that person will add every other lesson to. So if a parent steps back and says, "I'll just let the child figure it out or choose it or whatever," then that parent is allowing that child to get lost, to feel unhappy and confused. So let's talk about how we can nurture the concept of roles and identity in our homes. But before we do that, do you see that subscribe button? It's for you to push. Go ahead and push it now so that you see more great videos just like this. Years ago, I wrote this book, which is Parenting a House United. It's the one I'm the most known for because it outlines my whole parenting program, which is the Teaching Self-Government Parenting Model. And this is widely used. I thought when I wrote this book that people understood family roles. Boy, was I wrong. For years, people came to me after reading that book and saying, "But what if your child doesn't want to do what you say? Or what if they don't care? Or what if they won't talk to you or listen to you? What if you're walking on eggshells around your child all the time?" And I would say, well, that's a roles issue. So in the end, I wrote this book called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success, so that people could understand their family roles, basically understand their family identities, and help each other get to a place where they can communicate and solve their problems. If you can't acknowledge who each other is in your home, you'll never get to a place of solving your problems. So when a parent understands who they are, that helps a child understand who they are, even if you don't fully articulate it, but you should articulate it. More deliberate conversation, the better when it comes to child raising. If you have more deliberate conversation with your children, they'll get in the habit of thinking it's okay to have deliberate conversation with you. So start when they're little, when they're babies, talk to them all the time and keep opening that door of communication again and again. But talk to them about who you are. Say, what is the role of mother? I don't know, you do things for us, you love us, you're always there for us, you teach us things. Yeah, I'm a teacher, I'm a nurturer. You love me too, right? Yeah. I'm the heart and hearthstone of the family. So you need to teach them what that is to be the heart and hearthstone of the family. So what is the role of father? Many people would say father is a protector, a provider. What does that mean to really protect? There's a lot of facets to protecting. What does it really mean? You can protect physically, spiritually, socially, morally. How do you protect a person, and how does father do it? Mother is someone that the children go to for wisdom from the time they're very little. And father is who they go to for acceptance. So if father is going to be giving that feeling of acceptance to a child, and he's not there, what could happen to the child? They could get very confused, very lost, because they don't have that feeling of being accepted by a father. It's a basic need that they have. Or what if father is always frustrated with them, or always tells them they're not good enough yet, or something like that? Then also the child could feel that they're not accepted by their father, and they could get very lost. They won't know who they are. If mother doesn't give wisdom and that love in her way, and fathers don't give acceptance in their loving way, then the children don't understand what it really means to be a child. They get thrown into this other role as almost an adult type person that's searching out who they are. And that's very overwhelming. So what is the child role? Well, number one, they are a learner, but there are other things, especially depending upon birth order within a family. But number one, they are a learner. That means they need teachers to teach them, and parents are teachers. Both of them teach the children, and the child needs to learn. If the teachers won't teach or the child won't learn, you have dysfunction. That's the recipe for messing up your family culture and making it so it's not a very happy place. If you want everyone to be happy, solve their problems easily, then you want to make sure everybody knows who they are. Deliberately talk about that, and then plan for how you can maintain that by developing the skills and the procedures in your family to solve the problems in ways that are simple, calm, understanding, and maintain your roles. So, to be very clear, if a child does not respect parental authority, or if there is a loss of parental authority in the family because the parents don't want their authority, they want to be a teen instead, everything falls apart and the child doesn't find out who they are. Now, another key thing that you can do, like I mentioned at the very beginning of this video that my parents did, is teach them who they are to a higher being as well. So to God. Who are they to God? It was really important for me to know that I was a child of God. That meant that I had somebody else to turn to too if I felt like I was having a hard time. And they taught me how to talk to Him through prayer as well. This is going to help them have a foundation for their lives. Now, a child, if they don't have a family that is deliberately working on this formation of identity like we've been talking about, then they can have their identity formed by anyone, by peers, neighbors, that weird uncle, the TV or media. They can be formed by a school environment anywhere because they're basically just like an open door. So when your child starts to do things or think things in ways that you don't agree with, or you thought, no, I don't want them to be like that, you have to ask yourself, who are they with the most? What are they seeing the most? And you've got to remove that and replace it with the family and relationships and that family environment. You've got to, otherwise they will start to become somebody else, somebody that might not be happy in their lives. So super important there. But let's talk about the social role in development of a child as well. So the social is definitely a part of development. Once a child is grounded and rooted with their identity, with their family, and with God or higher beings, then the social is the next component that helps them know who they are. And by the way, after social comes intellectual. So then they start thinking more about who they are. But the big mistake is many people are going straight toward intellectual, like, well, who are you? What do you like about this? And what's your identity about that? And they go straight to intellectual. Their prefrontal cortexes are so small, they don't have a ton of life experience. And you're trying to get them to sort something out without factoring in familial and spiritual or social. So all of those things need to come into place first. So then when they're with their friends or peers or other people in their community, once they are grounded and rooted in the family identity, then they can say, okay, well, now that I'm with these other people, how do I maintain my family identity and still be friends with them and talk with them? How do we discuss who we are and what we care about with each other? So now you can have a position of security as you go into these other environments. And then when you're in an academic setting or somebody poses a question to you that might even put your identity at risk, then you can say to yourself, well, wait a second, what do I know about who I am? What are the truths that I already understand about me? And hopefully those go back to family, God, and then what you've already been able to stand up for in your community, even if you don't match everybody else. But you also have been then respecting everybody else's identity as well, right? Interesting. So identity isn't something that relates to preferences. Those are just things that we like. Identity is truly who we are to other people. It goes back to our deep, deep relationships. If you have enjoyed this video, I'm quite sure that you will really like my next video, which is all about creating happiness for your child. It's called Home Should Be the Happiest Place for a Child. Click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.